Hello, this is a prologue on entitlement of friendships, family, people who are in our personal space, even acquaintances, might I add. And there are situations where we are able to be of service, of help, of value to our friends, to people who we know, without any clear cut expectations or conditions of work. But over time, there is an expectation that someone will always be there, someone will always support you no matter what, without any thought or expressed consideration on the expenses and the sacrifice that the other party goes through. I recently experienced a situation where I was of service and of help to a friend of mine, and after some time, I had to leave. I had to do something else, and while I was of value to said person, it was a mutually beneficial relationship, but there were no clear cut expectations, clear cut benefits from me being of value to this person. It was almost like a gentleman's handshake that would always be there no matter what. So over time, I had to leave and I had to do something else with my life. And I have come to realize that there has been a strain on the relationship because of this sort of entitlement to me, to my presence, to my support, to whatever they are doing, without any due consideration of what's going on in my life and what I of how of where I would like to go, of whether or not I was benefiting from the said exchange. And now there's a strain, and I've come to realize that family and friends have an entitlement to our time, to our service, to any value that we might add to their lives, to their dreams, to their efforts, to their work, without any due thought and consideration to what it takes to give that service and value, without any conversation of how can we make this mutually beneficial. Even the benefit of me possibly interacting with these different people is because I have to creatively figure out how it can benefit me. It wasn't because there was a conversation or because there was a deliberate effort to create a scenario where I can clearly benefit, but it was me being proactive, me trying to occupy myself and try to render a service to a colleague. So there are times when we have to be aware of those situations, be aware of those friendships, be aware of those relationships where changes in your life change the way you show up in the relationship, and those changes put a strain or there is an adjustment to how you can show up in a relationship. However, the other party isn't willing to put all those factors into consideration, but they would rather sulk, they would rather hold a grudge, they would rather twist it and make it look like you did something wrong. And even if you were to ask them, they would not know what wrong you did, but they would just feel aggrieved, they would feel wronged, they would feel like they were hurt, they would feel like you did something wrong, they would feel like you let them down, even while there was no actual agreement. It was just you showing up. And sometimes when you constantly show up for people, and you are deemed reliable, you are deemed available, you are deemed capable, you are deemed approachable, sometimes you can be taken advantage of, and you can find yourself being perceived as an aggriever, being perceived as someone who is on the wrong side when you are unable to avail yourself at their convenience, when you aren't as approachable as you once were, when you start putting terms and conditions on particular things that before were just obvious. So if you are in a situation where you are being taken advantage of, but it's being twisted it's being twisted to appear like you are in the wrong, you have to realize that it's okay to be seen and perceived as in the wrong. It happens, and there's nothing wrong with that. Do not try to fix every single relationship. Do not think that you're going to make everyone happy. Do not think that you aren't worthy of other relationships. Do not think that if I lose this one, it's going to have long-term effects in my life, in my well-being. You have to realize that you will make other relationships. You will find other people on the way. You need to have more value to yourself, to your time. People need to recognize that not everything revolves around them. things change. I have changed. You have changed. Life has changed. You have other expectations. You have other demands into your life. And whenever someone needs something from you, they need to come with the right energy. If you would like a favor, if you would like me to support you, if you would like me to do something for you at no cost, come with the due energy. If I'm doing you a favor, then don't act entitled. Don't act like it's guaranteed that I'll always be there. And if I cannot give you the same favor I have been giving you quite easily for years and years, and now I am not able, don't act aggrieved. Don't act like that someone is now a bad person. And I really believe that very many of us are taken advantage of by friends, family, because of the added label to the relationship of family or friend. So people assume that because you're my family or friend, then you am expected to always show up, to always be there for you. And even the approach of conversation is with that expectation, is coming from that lens of, you're my friend, you're my family, you are showing up for years, why now? So unless someone is completely self-aware, unless someone is not self-centered, unless someone puts themselves outside the equation and analyzes your actions, your behavior, your mannerisms, any adjustments in in what you do, how you speak, how you show up, unless they evaluate it without putting themselves at the center of the equation, they are going to evaluate your actions based on how it affects them. They are going to evaluate any change in your life on how they can either benefit or on how they are losing something by you changing. So it means that if someone is evaluating you based on how it affects them, there are chances that you not succeeding, you not being as available, you not being as approachable affects them negatively. And with that lens, they're going to feel aggrieved, they're going to feel wronged, and they'll come at you with that energy. Now, if you aren't stable, if you aren't steady up there, you may actually embrace the label of the perpetrator of some unknown wrong, and you may even start apologizing. You may start backtracking on certain boundaries that you have placed. You may start trying to please people that do not deserve to be pleased. So you need to be aware of situations when there's that twisted narrative of you perpetrating something wrong that you don't completely understand, but as you're trying to process it all, you accept the label without coming to a logical conclusion on how that label actually came to be. You will start really regressing in a way. So this message just comes to inform you and to make you take a step back and make you evaluate those different people in your life who seem to be entitled to things that they don't have a right to be entitled to. So if it means adjusting and losing a friendship because of that subtle entitlement that they have, then so be it. You will always have access to other friendships. You will always make other relationships. You will always have access to other things. No one is irreplaceable. No one is. People are. It's memorable. It's great to have the same people in your life. It's great to go on with all the friends that you had. But if it's not serving you, and people are not willing to have a mutually beneficial dialogue and conversation over things, and people are quick to attach labels onto you, are quick to make you, to guilt trip you into feeling like, did I do something wrong? And a verdict has already been decided upon without you in the conversation, then it's really time for you to choose you. It's really time for you to consider yourself worthy of certain conversations. Consider yourself worthy of relationships where you are valued, where changes in your life are put into consideration, where it's not expected for you to always be there, to always show up even when it's not feasible for you, where someone judges you based on how their life is affected, based on how you benefit them, and in no way is willing to understand and try to appreciate what's going on in your life. So it's really important for us to be mindful of those moments, and they are so common because we aren't attuned to identifying them, and they can literally be perpetuated for years and years and years. So that happens a lot. And for those who are people pleasers, if you know you're a people pleaser, stop. You need to have more pride in yourself. You need to love yourself more. You need to regard yourself higher than you do, and take memos seriously. Take people's cues seriously. Do not attempt to fix everything by pleasing and trying to offer a service and trying to be the one quick to reduce yourself and diminish your shine. Diminish yourself just to, to keep a relationship. Honestly, you are more valuable than that. So yeah, this is just a thought that came to my mind, and I really feel that very many of us actually go through this and we just aren't aware of it. So now you need to turn on those antennas and get the memo, get the cues from all these different people who are in one way or another taking advantage of you in the guise of an entitlement to who you are, to your time, to your service, to, you're the one to reach out all the time. You're the one to, please. No.